Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We believe we are live now. It's so good to be live with you today. So welcome to the launch of our first Reflections broadcast. We're so excited to be launching today. So I just want to give everyone that's joining in. I can see a lot of you are starting to join in on Facebook. So welcome. And my name is Candice Van Wyk. For those of you who don't know me, I am a speaker, investor, entrepreneur, and also business and property coach. And I really started my entrepreneurial journey in 2010, and it's really been an exciting journey over the last 10 years. So just to share with you, so my mission as Candice Van Wyk is really to be an influential leader, as well as a catalyst in growing small and medium-sized businesses. I plan to do this through my mission, which is to equip, empower, inspire, and also to coach entrepreneurs in the areas of property and business. And one of the things that I'm also very passionate about is to empower women entrepreneurs and aspiring women entrepreneurs in and into business, and especially those who have no or limited resources. So I'm very passionate about helping other entrepreneurs move their business goals forward. So really to share with you, so this is the start of our Reflections broadcast. We're also going to be broadcasting on YouTube. So for those of you who haven't liked our YouTube channel yet, please go and like our YouTube channel. We will also put it into the comments later on. So you're welcome to connect with us through our YouTube channel as well. But the reason why I really started the Reflections broadcast is really to create or to put a platform in place where we are able to share ideas, we're able to share insights that would be able to help other entrepreneurs really accelerate their entrepreneurial success as they move their goals forward. So that's one of the reasons why I really launched this platform. And I really believe that iron sharpens iron, as the Bible teaches us. So with me today, I'm very excited to share with you that I've got Zola Thekiso joining me on my first interview. So welcome, Zola. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Candice. I look forward to our conversation.
Awesome. Same here. So just to share with you, those of you who don't know Zola, so she's really the CEO and founder of Great Seed Talent. So we're going to be hearing more about this awesome venture that she started not so long ago. But not only that, she's also a mom. She's a wife, and she's also my special friend. So it's very exciting for me to have her on my launch of this Reflections YouTube and Facebook broadcast. And then just to share with you, so she's got over 17 years of experience in the areas of marketing and advertising. So I can really say that she's a marketing guru. She's also helped me in some of my ideas and initiatives that I started. So she's also going to be sharing some of her insights there. So today we're going to be discussing life as an entrepreneur, as a mom, and as a wife. And the question is there balance? So for those of you who are joining, please do put in your comments, your questions at the end of the talk. We will have an opportunity to answer some of those questions. So please do connect with us and share any comments and ideas that you may have, and we will connect with you later on. So before we get started into our topic, I'm just going to ask Zola and I call her Zoe. So I'm just going to ask her just to tell us a little bit more about herself and, just to tell us a little bit about her business, Great Seed Talent, before we get into our topic. Over to you, Zoe.
Thank you, Candy. Great Seed Talent is a people development agency. And what that means is that our core focus is focusing on how people progress, like in the world of work. So world of work is not necessarily just like from a corporate point of view, but you could be working in an SME, any organization really. And our services are recruitment and soft skills training and online coaching. We do also have clients where we've been helping with in terms of offering a service of employee engagement. So the aim of the business, or the core ethos of the business, is to help people be fulfilled, as well as helping them in their journey and in the workplace in terms of fulfillment, as well as have a healthy work life, as well as being successful in the workspace. So our business really focuses us looking at employees how are people being engaged in the workplace? How are people feeling that they have the support? So then we come in with the skills development and so forth.
Awesome, awesome, Zola. Thanks for that, for sharing that. And it really sounds like you're adding a lot of value in the different areas that you've mentioned. One of the things that I just want you to elaborate on, you mentioned that you provide coaching as well. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the type of coaching that you provide to your clients?
Sure. From a coaching point of view, it's from a career coaching. So we help in terms of from a soft skills training. What we found is that technically people really have a knowing in terms of like where they're wanting to be, but the skills in terms of how to get there within their career journeys becomes a challenge. So as Great Seed Talent, we identify through the coaching mechanisms that we're using in terms of like in your career development or in your career planning, where is it that you're wanting to reach? What is that goal? And we then become almost like your virtual BFF, your supporter, where we are helping you on that journey, giving you the skill set in terms of the soft skills training, as well as giving you like that support and milestones in helping you reach that journey that you know, the destination where you're wanting to be within your journey.
Awesome. No, thanks for sharing that. And I think it's really a needed service. And I think especially in today's time, I think a lot of people, especially with what's also happening, you know, in terms of our economy, I think a lot of people are finding themselves in a situation where they need some sort of guidance, whether it be in the areas of business or whether you are an employee today. You know, wherever you find yourself, I think, you know, there's definitely a need for coaching. So for those of you who need some assistance in terms of your career planning going forward, then I think Zo's definitely someone that you can tap into from that perspective. So I just want to give a shout out to a few people who've joined us. So I just want to say thanks, Jen. I see you. Thanks for joining us today. I see you, Vivian, Leroy, Stephen. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And I can see more people coming on. So just remember, please do share your comments with us, your questions. We want to hear from you. We want to engage with you. If you've got any questions, please do share and we will connect. We will answer those questions later on. Awesome. So thanks for that, Zo. So you and I know each other for quite a while now. I don't want to even go back into number of years, but I think it's probably over, it's definitely over a decade now. We're probably going into our second decade of knowing one another. And I mean, I obviously know that you weren't in business, you know, all along. I mean, you started your journey when you and I met, you were still in corporate. And I know back then, many years back, you started talking about, you know, wanting to transition into full-time business, and you finally taken that step of faith. So 2 years ago, you resigned and you started this awesome journey of entrepreneurship. Now, just talk to us a little bit about, you know, just the transition from, you know, corporate, so where you were, and then moving into full-time entrepreneurship. So just share a little bit about that experience with us.
Okay, sure. I think for me, as you say, like the journey started way before I actually did the physical transition, you know, because it's something that I had been thinking about for a while. But I think more than anything, it needed to take a bit of like inner work within me in terms of like the readiness, you know, and the consultation, you know. And when I say that, I had to consult with various like parties, like mentors, in particular, like my husband, where I had to be, you know, asking him, like, in terms of like, you know, the timing, is it the right timing as a family? Because I also just don't want to just, you know, go out. And from a family point of view, it was quite important that the decision that I was making, because it would impact them, were we ready as a family for me to go on and start a business? But importantly, what had happened, as you rightfully say, it was a journey that started way before I actually did the transition, was I had to pray about it. You know, I'm quite I'm a believer, and I'm a spiritual person. So for me, I had to really consult, you know, in terms of like asking God and just hearing from him if it was the right path for me. Because I think sometimes we have ideas of where we're wanting to be, but it's quite important for us to know that the path that we're walking is a path filled with light and filled with peace. And for me, being a spiritual person, it's something that I had to do for myself, asking the Lord in terms of like, is this the right path for me? Way before I even like started doing the preparation and the planning and the registering the business and so on. So yes, so part of like the transitioning mode was definitely like that for me.
Awesome. So Zoe, you really share a few interesting things then. I think that's so true. You know, when we start this journey of entrepreneurship, it really doesn't start, you know, when we launch that actual business. It actually starts, you know, prior to that for a lot of us. And, you know, I'm just reminded also when you say that it's so important to seek consulting and, you know, to spend time with yourself, spend time with the Lord, and of course your network of advisors in terms of just tapping into the right opportunity and making sure that the timing is right for you. Because one thing that I can also share from myself in terms of my experience, I mean, when I got started, that's also, you know, one of the things that played a huge role was to make sure that the timing was right. Because I talk to a lot of women entrepreneurs, and a lot of time we have all of these awesome ideas and we want to just move into business full time. But, you know, sometimes the timing isn't 100% right for you to actually make that move and actually step into that, you know, that next venture on a full-time capacity. So I think it's really important that as entrepreneurs, whatever venture you're going to be launching into, that we really spend enough time understanding what it is that we're going to be delivering, how we're going to be adding value, and also making sure that we are ready for that step, because not only do you have to be ready from a financial perspective, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I mean, you mentioned that you had to get your entire family involved in terms of this decision, you know, before you stepped into this venture. And I know you've got two beautiful kids, and I mean, just share with us also. So when you started sharing with them that you were going to move into this venture, how did you talk to them about it? I mean, mention their ages to everyone so they know how old your children are, but how did you actually share the news with them, and, you know, what was their response?
So my son is 10. He turned 10 in May, and my daughter is 7. So I think they are in an age where they can fortunately understand, because they're not so young, being toddlers, you know. But we made it quite exciting for them in saying, guys, we have like great news, you know, it's so exciting, you know, mommy is going to be like a entrepreneur. And what that means is mommy has her own business. You know, she actually owns a business, and one day mommy is going to employ people and work with more people. And you know what's amazing is God has told mommy that this is the right journey for her, you know, because we're also trying to make it with them that they're able to stand on their own 2 feet in terms of like trusting that there's a process, like from a spiritual point of view, they can pray for things and they can ask, you know, God for things. And when they feel the peace within their hearts, God is saying, yes, that's the right journey. And when, you know, so we tried that because they are old enough, as I say, being 10 and being 7, to have that understanding, you know, from also a spiritual point of view. So we tried to make it in that point of view that, you know, mommy and daddy prayed and it was the right time for mommy. And it's going to be so exciting because one day mommy's going to have huge offices and help people, you know, have jobs. Because we're also trying to, you know, for us, it was important to show that running your business is sometimes not just being at home and running it from home, but there's a huge impact in terms of impacting other people. And it's not just starting a business for yourself, but it's involving others, you know, and it's impacting communities, and it's impacting, you know, in terms of like the business mommy's starting is to help people find jobs. You know,
Yeah.
oh wow, are you going to help people find jobs, mommy? And I said, yes, because people don't have jobs and they're looking for jobs, and mommy's going to help them. And people that do have jobs, but they're feeling sometimes, you know, they're not really happy at work because they're finding maybe they need a bit of help with, you know, being on time or meeting their deadlines at work. Mommy helps them, you know, with time management skills, you know. So we tried to make it quite engaging in their level, you know, in terms of what mom is now going into.
Awesome. No, and I'm sure do you have their full support, though? Do you feel like you've got your children's full support at this time?
I do. I mean, as you said, I'm in year 2 now of business. The first couple of months, I think it was quite different because now they were seeing mommy fetching them. Mommy is able to come watch a chess game in the middle of the day. Mommy is there for soccer and, you know, whatever extramural they had, mommy was able to be there, you know. So I think it was that adjustment that, oh, wow, my mom is able to be here for me. And it was all fun for them. But I think in that, I had to make them see that it doesn't mean that mommy, as much as she has fun and is always there with them, mommy also has work. It's just that
Yeah.
mommy has flexibility because, you know, they do have friends where their moms are home executives and, you know, and so on. So I needed them to understand that sometimes mommy will be able to be here, but there'll be times when mommy has, you know, to help like other people in terms of like mommy's on a coaching call helping people, you know. So mommy can't come to school even though mommy's at home. She's not able to be at school, you know, because I have a home office, so I do work from home at this point in time by
Yes.
choice, because I think, you know, right now for me it is important to be able to be home with them and just, you know, it's a lifestyle that I've chosen in terms of right now being able to be at home and try to be with them as much as possible while
Awesome.
being in.
Awesome. No, thanks for sharing that. So, and I think, you know, one of the reasons why you can work from home as well is because I know that a lot of your business is being done online. And obviously now with lockdown, I think everyone has had to find ways of actually, you know, creating some sort of a workspace and office space for them within their own homes so that we can obviously still continue to be productive. But I think once your business is online, it does make you a lot more flexible, you know, in terms of where you work from. And obviously then being in a position to, you know, spend some more time with the kids. But one thing that I just want us to touch on, Zoe, for those people who are probably maybe still in the early journey, or maybe for some people who are still contemplating, you know, is this the right time? Isn't it the right time? And yes, we will be going into the balance, but I think I'm just reminded of that component of, you know, actually taking that step from corporate into business. And I think one of the things that we've touched on already is to say that there definitely needs to be a lot of planning and preparation that goes into that stage.
Yes,
Isn't it?
definitely. Yes, definitely. You're absolutely right, Candy.
And I think, yes, just what were you saying there?
No, I was saying you're absolutely right. There's a form of planning because I think also you transitioning like also from like having had structure in a workplace, you know, by default of being in a place where there are structures that are more formalized in terms of whether it's a SME or corporate. Being in an organization allows you to be in a form of structure. Now, when you're going on your own, there's a lot of processes that aren't there that you are physically having to put in place for yourself.
For
You
sure.
know, it's not all fun and games of either just sitting on the couch and watching Netflix or going out to meet friends, because you're not on holiday. You actually are like working. You need to
Yes.
produce, you know, and so a lot of organization skills come into play there, where you have to have structure, you have to have the proper time management, and within, you know, your processes, you're starting to find out that you also not just being a business development person, you know. A lot of like startups, you having to be a mirrored of like functions and roles within your business. You know, you are being the marketing person, you are being the spokesperson of the business, you know, perhaps also looking at like the financial aspects of your business and the planning, as well as, you know, yeah, there's a lot of like roles that you initially take on board, you know. So you do have to definitely, you know, not only plan, but be in a way of structure, you know, for the success of the business.
No, for sure. That's definitely the case. So I think for those of you who are out there and you're probably still in, you know, in that contemplation stage, I think one of the things that you definitely need to consider is obviously, you know, become organized in terms of your home office space, or where is that office space going to be. And sometimes you might start this journey like I did while still in full-time employment, and you then start this, you know, this venture on the side. So even within that element, you know, it's important for us then to make sure that we've got some sort of organization happening within our living environment, you know. So if you've got an office, if you've got a separate bedroom, or you've got a space within your house that you can convert into your mini office and you know, and start operating from there, I think it's important for us to get that right. And another interesting thing, Zoe, that you mentioned is that we put on so many hats when we get started. So yes, you're right. You definitely, you are the accountant, you are the HR consultant, you know, you are the marketing expert. You play all of these various roles when you start your business. And I think it's so important that if you start out as a one-man show, I also think it's important, you know, to understand and know the type of support that you're going to be needing. In your case, though, you are marketing guru. So obviously managing the marketing component of business is something that comes very natural to you. But for a lot of us, you know, that's not a skill that we have, and it's something that we grow into, and we obviously have to make sure we get the right level of support as far as that is concerned. But I also just want to use this opportunity just to mention to those of you who are starting out, or maybe in your early stages of your journey, remember that as part of our platform, which is the Candice Van Wyk platform, which we launched not so long ago in terms of our website, and as part of our SME Women initiatives, it's really to make sure that you are empowered, you know, as the startup entrepreneur getting started. So getting some learnings, getting some insights. I mean, when I started my journey, I didn't know anything about HR. I had to learn a lot of these things as I went along. So we really want to make sure that as you're starting your journey, use the platform, tap into some of the information that we have available, so that you can start using some of these insights. And of course, listening to experts such as Zoe within her area as well, and drawing on some of those insights. But Zoe, now I just want to move into, so you've transitioned now, you've transitioned from corporate into business. You've now prepared your family in terms of the step that you're taking, and everyone now understands what mommy's going to be doing. They understand the value that you're bringing to your clients, so everyone's on board, they're supporting you. But then of course there's another element, you know, and you've touched on it a little bit, but I just kind of want you to talk about that element. So obviously Karabo was used to having you at home in a different capacity, you know, so you used to have maybe your 9-to-5 job, you come home, and, you know, then you start doing your motherly and whatever wife activities. But now you've obviously moved into full-time entrepreneurship. You're working from home. So a lot has changed, I can imagine, just from that perspective. So just share a little bit with me, just in terms of, you know, what that change has meant for your marriage, and what type of impact has it had on your marriage?
Okay. So Candice, like initially, like, I mean, Karabo, even when I started the business, just to give you a bit of like background, you know, he's also not just like, I think, my husband, but it's also like a spiritual partner, if I can call it that, because we pray together and we seek the Lord together. So before I physically even went into business, it was something that he was on board with me, you know. Before even the announcement with the children and so on, he was supporting me in it. And he's also like in business. My husband is in business, and he's been in business for a while now, like almost a decade. So I think also he also not only played from a husband role point of view and a spiritual partner in terms of like praying things through with me, but he also took on a role of like a business coach, because he had been in it for so long that not only did he start in it as a small business person, but now, you know, having like employees, you know. So he really took on a role of like a business coach, where he was now telling me what's coming ahead, you know, what's coming my way, and the pitfalls and the things to look out for, and his learning journey, and where he's been, and what are like the things to look out for, and different ways to navigate this journey, you know. So in you saying actually that the Candice Van Wyk platform is there to help people, I think having a network helps, with me, I had that network not only in entrepreneurs that had gone before me, such as yourselves, but also in my husband. So he initially even took on that role of being like a supporter, of being, you know, a business coach and helping me practically what am I getting myself into, you know?
Yeah.
And now having been in it for a while, I think, you know, it's good for us as a family because I'm able definitely to have that flexibility, as I mentioned earlier, of being there for my kids, especially, you know, during the day where normally I would have been in a corporate environment. I'm now able to be there for either their games or, you know, whatever extramural activities they engage in during the week. And, you know, so my business being online does enable me to have more flexibility. So from a home environment, you know, and from a husband point of view, he also runs a business. So I think he has that empathy that that many people may not necessarily have, you know, when your spouse goes into business and perhaps you still in like a corporate environment, or, you know, you work for someone. He has that understanding and he backs me up 100%. You know, when I have to perhaps like maybe work a little bit later in the evenings, he has that understanding because he owns a business himself, you know. But we definitely do try to put parameters in place where there's no really working in the evening. You know, there's time for us to connect as husband and wife, you know, in terms of, you know, when the kids are, you know, are sleeping and so on. We have like date nights. With quarantine right now, date nights is at home. Right now looks like, you know, watching movies at home versus going out. But I mean, we utilize the network and the support structures that we have, you know, in terms of like even when my mom is around or my sisters are around, my family, you know, we able to say, here are the kids, we're going for the weekend, or here are the kids going out for the evening.
Yes. No, for sure. And I mean, one of the things I'm just reminded of, I mean, obviously, you know, you guys have been married for a while now. I only started my journey about 2.5 years ago. But, you know, one of the things that has always stood out from your relationship is that I remember how you used to emphasize the importance of date night, you know, and I remembered, you know, when I got married and I said to my husband, you know, that's something that we need to bring in as well, is to make sure that we bring in the date night component, you know, because you can get carried away in your day-to-day activities. And if you don't have some sort of a routine in place or some sort of system in place for you to actually spend time together, then it's not going to happen. And I like what you say about also in the evenings, you know, like prioritizing your time and saying, okay, so no working in the evenings. You know, we spend time with the kids, and then once they're off to bed, you know, that's when the two of you get to connect. So I think already you're sharing some insights there in terms of, you know, how you're able to have some balance from that perspective. But another interesting thing is that I think you're definitely right in saying that, you know, when our husbands, and it doesn't matter whether you're on business or whether you're on a career today, I think once the other partner understands, you know, what you are doing, why you are doing it, and of course they love you, because they wouldn't be with you if they don't love you. And I think once they understand those things, I think it's easier, you know, to support that next person, and vice versa. I mean, I know you've also supported him in various ventures that he's pursued over the years. So I really think it's that element of empathy, of understanding, and you know, really finding your own rhythm and your own flow. And I must admit, I don't have it right 100%. I'm still battling. I mean, my husband has some problems with me every now and again, you know, Candice, you're working too hard, or, you know, it's another night and how long are you still going to be working, you know? But I obviously also try and bring him, you know, into the projects that I'm working on, so that he understands, okay, for the next 2 weeks, my babes, I'm going to be working into the evenings, you know? So after that, once I'm done with that, you know, period, then obviously things can get back to some sort of a routine or a rhythm again. But I think it's just that open communication as we move forward, isn't it?
It's all about having an open communication, and also that collaboration in knowing that we're here to support one another. you know, and also like, what are our goals as a couple? What are our
Yes,
goals as a family? You know, and are we on track on that? And this right now might be a bit rough, like as you say, these 2 weeks might be a bit rough. I might be working a bit late, but it's for both of us. It's for us as a family, or it's
yes,
for, you know. But I definitely think communication is it's a huge, definitely, it's a huge
yes,
component to it. You always have to have those communication lines open, you
for
know, and
sure.
supporting one another.
For sure. And, you know, I'm just watching the time. Can you believe it? It's already almost 40 minutes into our conversation. But now I just want you to get into, so I know, Zoe, that you are very organized in terms of how you actually transact in your business. I mean, even if it's just a general catch up for you and I, you want me to send out a meeting invite.
No, you know, can I tell you, like, I know, like, I've not always been like that, but you know what it is? It's because, especially when you are working like in a home environment, and I think now people can see when they're working at home,
Yeah.
you know, a task of something you may feel maybe like 2 hours may end up taking you a bit longer.
Yeah.
It's just important to, I think, have a form of structure and a form of like a schedule going, so that things don't fall off. You know, things
Yes.
that are important don't really fall off, you know, because it's important for us, as much as there's no perfect world. And as you say, we're all on a journey of learning, and we might not always strike the balance 100%, but you try and make time, you know. Even my sisters and I, like last week, we had to like schedule, like we said, guys, can we chat? What time suits you? Okay, let's have a video call at 1 o'clock Saturday. Because sometimes, like, you know, yeah, you need that type of balance. I mean, it doesn't always have to be so rigid, you
Yes.
know, but you know, in order not to have important things fall off, you know, try have a system in place, you know, and also try have those buckets full, like your family and your friends. You know, you don't also want to just always be working. You need
Yes.
time to catch up with your friends and see how they're doing and so on, you know. So the
Yes.
balance, not always 100%, but you have to make sure that all your cups are being full, your
Yes.
family, your social life, and you know, so on.
That's for sure. So we kind of need that whole life balance perspective, you know, as we're doing this. And I mean, one of the things that I've been reflecting on, obviously, during this period of you know, lockdown, is I obviously, just before lockdown, I had actually gone on a little bit of a break. My husband and I went away for a couple of days. And it just so happened, you know, whilst we were away, this whole lockdown situation started. But I mean, one of the things that we obviously realize is that it's important to have these little breaks in between, you know, just to make sure that you just, you know, re-energize, you know, revision, get yourself back on track. And I think lockdown has meant that for a lot of us. I know that we've been revisioning, replanning, re-strategizing, you know, during this time. And I think one of the things that I've also had to learn, you know, even being in this lockdown situation and obviously working more from home at this time, is that you have to make sure that you plan your activities within your schedule. And I mean, I make jokes and I laugh at you, but it's the reality, you know. It's, we have to make time to catch up within our schedule, and it needs to be at a time that is convenient, you know, for both parties. So as a result, it then becomes a meeting invite, because sometimes if you don't do that, you actually forget to spend time with one another, which is also important. And obviously, you know, you just get carried away with other things. So I think it's important to have that type of, or that degree of planning within our schedules.
It's so
Another,
important, Candy. Sorry, just to add to that, is also what I actually do is also I have time for me, my mommy time, you know, like my me time, because I think sometimes exactly that, you know, you can be looking after, like, you know, it's your household, it's your children, it's your husband, it's your friends, but I also need to look after myself, you know,
exactly.
and in that, you know, whether it's just, you know, taking a bubble bath, or whether it's me just taking time out, sitting, you know, outside in the sun and reading a book or listening to a podcast. I also do things for me, you know,
Yes.
that bring me joy, you know, and so it's important, and absolutely, to make time for ourselves.
Yes, yes, no, for sure, Zoe. And I just want to share with everyone. So what we're going to do is, for those of you who are subscribers to our platform, if you're not a subscriber, I mean, obviously you can sign up. You sign up for free. You don't have to pay anything. You just go onto the website, www.candicevanwyk.com, and you sign up to our newsletter. Because I'm actually just reminded of an awesome tool that, that I currently use with some of my coaching students. And it's actually a tool that helps you to analyze, you know, so you basically look at the holistic view in terms of the different components that are important: family, you know, friendships, other relationships, work, career, business, and all of those things. And you really assess where you are. So you look at that holistic approach, and you then, it's a tool that helps you to assess where you are today. So what are those areas looking like? Is there really balance? And of course, like Zoe says, me time is just as important as all the other areas. So what it does is it really helps you to assess where you are today. And then it helps you then just to plan, you know, going forward, how you can bring a little bit more balance, you know, in terms of you as the individual and how you action some of those other areas. So I'm just reminded of that. It wasn't planned now, but for those of you who are subscribers, we will be sharing that with you in the next couple of days. For those of you who are not, you're welcome to sign up. As I said, you sign up for free on the newsletter, and then we'll be making sure that we get that tool out to everyone. And that's a tool that could also potentially, you know, just help you to get a little bit more balance. But so just quickly, so some of the other tools that you could maybe share with us. So you've mentioned, obviously, your diary, so setting up meetings. Some of the other tools that you could maybe share with us that can help us, you know, as entrepreneurs, as moms, as wives, even dads out there listening. I see some dads are also online. You know, so some tools that we could possibly use that has helped you in your journey, and you believe that, you know, it can maybe just help us, you know, in our journeys going forward. What are some of the other tools?
So some of the things that I've found that helps me a lot is in terms of also from a social media point of view, which I know a lot of people use that as a form of marketing. I've found that, like, schedule the time that you are going to work on your Instagram posts or your Facebook posts and so on. So like on a Saturday morning, or whatever time that is convenient for you, like take an hour and work out what is the plan, what are you wanting to do for next week, for the following week, and then use programs, even like automations, free programs, such as on my side, for example, there's a program called Later. Later is a free app you can use to schedule your you know, your posts, for example, as I say, for later on, like in the week, so that you're not always like 24/7 on your network, like in terms of social network, and also in terms of you know, utilizing I'm just trying to think what other tools, like from a priority point of view, I use, for example, an action matrix tool, where I every day I look at what's urgent, what's important, you know, what's not so urgent. So it's also putting things in a bucket for myself, where I realize, like, you know, to keep track, sometimes it's easy to look at things that are not necessarily being productive, you know, and I think this is one of, like, now I'm taking from my husband, because he coached me a lot on that, in terms of, like, it's not always about doing the things that, you know, have to be done, but it's prioritizing, you know, what are the things that are going to give you more output, you know, and also things such as the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, you know. So because time, you may find that you wanted to effectively manage your time, how can you now use the principles that you have? So the Pareto principle speaks of like 80% of 20% of the activity giving you 80% of the output. So it's just like a different way of thinking in terms of like utilizing your time, so you're able to maximize, you know, the output, especially when you are still working on your own, you know. And some of the tools that you may want to look at is getting a virtual assistant. So for a lot of people, they may find they're not necessarily able to afford a full-time employee, but they're able to get a virtual assistant to do their admin, you know, and to do emails, for example, you utilize such as MailChimp and so on. I mean, I'm not really advertising or advocating some of these platforms, but these are just some of the platforms that have helped me,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Automation can be one of the best things that we can use, especially when we're wanting to maximize our time.
No, for sure, Zoe. And I think you've really shared, some, like you say, it's just sharing, some insights and some tools that could potentially help people. And I definitely think, as we're talking now, because I mean, I talked to some, I've got also a woman in business group that I started working with not so long ago. We're an intimate group of women, about 12 women as part of that group. And, I'm really trying to help them get started in terms of their journey. And I think a lot of the challenges that startup entrepreneurs have is, like you say, first of all, being the jack of all trades when you get started, but also not necessarily being familiar with all of these tools that are out there. And I think one of the things that you and I definitely need to talk about is to talk about maybe doing a webinar workshop, where we could maybe just share with some other entrepreneurs, some tools that could potentially help them just to become more organized, and also some tools that they can leverage to help them become more organized. Because maybe starting out in your early entrepreneurial journey, you might still be in full-time employment. It becomes very difficult to balance, those two roles. So I think some of these tools, some of these platforms could potentially help some other entrepreneurs in that area. So if you are out there, if you're listening, whether it's on our Facebook page or whether it's on our YouTube channel, post your comments, put them down there for us. Let us know if you need assistance in tapping into some of these really cool tools that are out there that can help us to become more organized, so that we know if this is something that we need to put together and make sure that we make that type of workshop available for you. So please put out your comments there. Let us know some of the challenges that you're currently having in your business. Where are you finding the main challenges are in terms of getting that type of balance? Where do you feel you're spending a lot of time on and not being able to get to, maybe pursuing more clients or having one-on-one consultations with clients or with groups, whatever your business model is. So share with us, let us have a look at that, and let's maybe see how Zoe and I can collaborate on another platform, put some sort of workshop together, or maybe some sort of workbook together that could potentially help you, and then help you move your goals forward there. So thanks for... Yes, so you've got something else there?
I wanted to say that, it's not necessarily a tool, but, I did mention earlier that I offer soft skills training. So part of the soft skills training I do offer is stress management and time management. And perhaps it's not necessarily a tool that people are requiring, but they're needing to know how to effectively manage their time. In that I do cover such as like the Pareto principle and the action matrix tool that I mentioned now. As well as in stress management, you may find that, because of the things that are happening around you, you're not necessarily able to, you're feeling stuck. You feel like in your business, you're not able to move forward. And that could be like from a stress point of view, an anxiety point of view. And it's just helping people to see in terms of like there's certain triggers that may be around you and how to move forward and how to help you feel unstuck to move forward. And I mean, that is not necessarily a training that I offer not only to a corporate point of view, but I offer it to organizations and on my one-on-one coaching.
Awesome.
So I'm also interested in that. Perhaps that could also help them.
Yes, no, for sure. So I'm sure that could, because you're right. That's really where it starts with. It starts with, having better time management. It starts with the stress management around all of these priorities that we need to, execute on. And I think it really starts with the mindset and the thinking and getting yourself ready and organized. So I think those skills are very important. So definitely something for us to consider there. And then obviously once you've got that in place, is there now to find some tools, that could support you now in executing on that action plan, so that you can start really achieving those goals that you've put down, in the beginning of your journey. So awesome, Zoe. Thank you so much. I think we're running out of time. We've got about 10 minutes left, yeah? Any last words from you, just, just to round it off before we go into our audience and just see if there are any questions there? Anything else that you'd just like to share?
So I just wanted to say to people, start small. Sometimes we think of our businesses and we're wanting our business to be out there, but just take it day by day, and, don't be hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself in terms of where you act. Reach out to a network of people, and platforms such as like, as Candice has mentioned, in terms of like the support that she's in her organization that she's offering. So put your hand up if you're able to feel like you're feeling stuck, you've got an idea. And once you're in a form of like an action or execution. Just take it day by day, you know, start small, and you know, you'll see it will grow. And I wish everyone all the best.
Awesome. So thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for making yourself available. So ladies and gentlemen, just to give you Zo's website again, so it's greatseedtalent.co.za. So that's www.greatseedtalent, or one word, .co.za. So please do connect with her on her website platform. And then also remember, she offers services such as career planning, personal development, recruitment type of services. She's also mentioned now she's available for soft skills training and coaching. So please do tap into that. So if you need assistance in any of those areas, do connect with her. Zoe, if you can just give everyone your Instagram page. So what is your Instagram page for Great Seed?
For Great Seed Talent, it's great_seed_talent. And my personal one is my name and surname. So it's at Zola Thekiso.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So what we'll also do is after this chat, we'll also just put it onto the comments so people just have your information as well. And yeah, and that concludes it for today, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for joining us. I'm not seeing any questions. I do see some of you are still online. So if you've got any questions, please just share that with us. Any questions that you may have with regards to what we've just discussed. We are happy to answer those questions now. But for those of you who may not have any questions, so just to share with you, as part of our platform, so remember to visit www.candicevanwyk.com. I'll say that again, www.candicevanwyk.com. And as part of our value add, you also see there, you know, that we also offer some workshops. We've done some workshops now during this lockdown period, all online, to assist you in various areas of your business. It's very affordable and it's convenient because you do it from your home office or your couch, you know, you're able to tap into some of these workshops that we are making available. I'm definitely going to be collaborating with Zoe on a workshop as well that we're going to be bringing to you online, just to share with you, you know, because I think with a lot of us need assistance with marketing, and especially if you don't have the budget to outsource some of your services in the beginning, I think it becomes important to know how to do some of these things on your own. And as you heard, there's some scheduling tools that you can work with. And I'm not even going to get into it because I don't use it. So Zoe will be able to give you all of those insights. And maybe I'll also start using more of them for my personal platforms. So yes. But yeah, so those are some of the things that we're planning on doing. But once again, thank you for joining us. Tune in. We're going to be doing these on a regular basis. So we're looking at doing them every Friday. So tune in from 1 to 2 o'clock every Friday. And please do share it with you know, some of the people within your networks and your platforms. Awesome. So thank you so much, my friend. It's always good talking to you, and some good insights that you shared today. And I really look forward to collaborating with you on some other platforms.
Likewise. Thank you. Thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone. God bless you and keep well.